Bama at home taking on LSU. Hey, this is the big rivalry that's going on for years to years. Hey, LSU pulled it out last season. Is Bama looking to bounce back now at home, having this game at home. It's gonna be huge. Milroe versus Daniels. Hey, it's gonna be huge. We got Bama's coming in as only a 3-point favorite, and it's going to be an interesting contest right now, especially for the standings in the West right now. We're bringing in Vic, who is going to be our LSU guy. Going forward, the big LSU fan had to bring somebody extra in. Our first guest on the channel. So, hey, give me your thoughts, Vic. What you think going into this game?
Hey, I am excited for this matchup. It's the best week in college football. Um, it's going to be interesting because we got the best offense in college football with LSU, and arguably, well, not arguably, our best defensive test right here with Alabama. So, will we be able to keep scoring 40 points and keep on the roll in our offense? I believe so, off of several reasons. But I think the key is if it's going to be a shootout because of our defense, we just have to make a couple key stops to give us extra possessions to get on top of Bama and Tuscaloosa. Because if we go in Tuscaloosa, we start slow, let the crowd get into it, we turn the ball over, making mistakes, we're not going to win that game, and it will get ugly. So I just think the key is that we can complete our drives, especially in the red zone, because in Florida State, that was our biggest thing. We drove down the field the first half every time, but the first couple possessions in the red zone, we stalled out. So we just got to complete offensively, and then on defensively, let's just hope and pray we can make some stops. So I think we can't over pursue Milton, because if we over pursue, he's going to torture us. He's probably will be the fastest player on the field. Well, one of the fastest players on the field. He's a freak. So we just got to contain him. Harold Perkins, how we will use Harold Perkins. Because if we use him how we use Florida State, it won't benefit us. Because if we use him just as a spy, I think Nick Saban will out scheme him out the game, have him no impact, and that cannot happen. So those are just a couple key points that I think is very key to how that game would go. Also, I'm interested to see Malik Neighbors versus McKinney, and our receivers versus y'all secondary. So it'll be an interesting matchup.
Hey, Vic, you ain't said nothing but the truth, my man. Nothing but the truth. Listen, I'm going to give LSU some props here just to start things off. Jaden Daniels, second on the team in rushing. And it ain't like they ain't got no running backs. They got 2 running backs.
Yeah.
Quarterback is number 2 in rushing yards. Okay. They put him in a position to shine. Credit due. Nick Saban has issues with teams that are built like this LSU team on offense. Cam Newton. I can go on and on about the players, the quarterbacks that Nick Saban has had to play over the years that gave him fits. Okay. It's that quarterback that can run it and throw it. Jaden Daniels fits the mold. Okay. And he's also passed for over 2,500 yards. Okay. When I look at this team, I look at a team that looks a little bit like the Joe Burrow team. Now, Daniels is throwing these balls on a rope. He's doing everything perfect. They running not just mesh routes. They running digs. The O-line is protecting. Okay. Offensively, LSU has it figured out. Daniels has improved significantly from last year. The O-line is giving him time to throw. They opened up holes for him to run the design quarterback runs. Listen, I watched every game that LSU has played so far this year. Today, whoever the OC is doing a great job of moving the pocket. Sometimes it's shotgun with no running back. But for the most part, they can read option.
Yep.
Okay. Now, Nick Saban does know how to handle read option. The ends, right? Dallas Turner, them. They're going to be ready for that. They're going to be ready for that. But they're going to have a spy, man. They're going to have a spy on Daniels because he accounts for too many yards with his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll burn you with his legs. Listen, LSU offensively, everything I've seen from them, even in their losses, it has not been their offense that has failed them. Their offense is actually what propels them. The problem is the damn defense. Man, Brian Kelly, such a good football coach. Such a good football coach. I don't understand how you could march an offense on the field that's that good and then turn around and throw a defense out there that is out of position. They arm tackling. They're missing assignments. When folks score on LSU, it happens like it happens in a video game. Okay. It's like I can make one move. I saw KJ Jefferson in the Arkansas game just kind of make a couple jab steps here or there, and DBs are just falling backwards. They're not even attacking. I say all that to say LSU's problems, I think, are derived because they're not being coached very well on the defensive side of the ball. They're not very aggressive. They're playing very, very passive. Now, they can't do nothing about that this year, okay? They've already lost 2 games. They do have a chance to make some noise when it's all said and done here, but they'll never make it to the college football playoff here, right? But they do have the ability to play spoiler. They can ruin Alabama's chances to get there when it's all said and done. They got the team to do it on offense.
Mm-hmm.
The defense absolutely sucks. It sucks.
Very much.
On so many levels. And I don't understand why. Now, why is this a perfect game why is this the perfect game for LSU? Because Alabama is having problems on the offensive side of the ball. Okay. Alabama has the ability to make LSU's defense look halfway decent if Milroe makes untimely throws, untimely interceptions. If Bama can't get off the field, if they can't convert third downs, okay, all that plays into LSU's hand. And this is all we've seen from Alabama this year until recently, okay? I've seen more 3 and outs from Alabama this year than I've seen in the past 15 years. That's a problem. And if you go and play LSU with a high octane offense like they have, okay, you can't go 3 and out. You have to sustain drives, guys. Y'all got to sustain. You got to convert some third down. So at the end of the day, Alabama's recipe for victory in this game is limit turnovers. Not just limit, but no turnovers at all, because you can't give LSU any additional possessions on offense because they are going to score. How good is Alabama's defense against LSU's offense? Is Kevin Steele going to put a spy on Daniels? You put a spy on Daniels, this is a guy that's not rushing. He ain't doing nothing but watching the quarterback. You got one man out of 11 that's designed to do nothing but watch the quarterback, stop him from running the ball. Well, shit, Jay Daniels will throw it on you. Listen. This LSU offense is something serious. It's something serious. The receivers and the running backs, Diggs, listen, they got 2 running backs. They got 3 receivers. All their receivers are great catching the ball and getting yacked, right? They do it very well. And I'm so impressed with Daniels and how he's placing the ball, throwing the seam routes, throwing the corner routes. But he also has time to do this. All the film I watched, Daniels has time to do this. Can Alabama rush him? Can they make him uncomfortable? They don't have to sack him, but can they make him uncomfortable enough to get off the field on third down? I ain't even talking about interceptions. This is going to be a game of who can get off the field on third down. Okay, it's going to be an offensive game. Bama does not want a shootout here, in my opinion. They really don't. Bama can win this game if they limit turnovers, create 3 and outs for LSU when LSU is on the offensive side of the ball. Okay, but these are big asks, man. LSU got to do a whole lot to stop Alabama on offense, right? That's why I say Milroe cannot be the mistake. If Milroe gives the ball up, LSU gonna kill him. It's over. If Milroe protects the ball, Bama's got a chance to win. The game is at home. I'm going Bama by 3, by field goal. Bama's got the #1 kicker in the country, SEC's all-time leading scorer in Will Riker from Hoover, Alabama. It's going to fall on him. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It'll come down to 1 kick. Bama by 3. What you got?
So I think this game right here is going to be in the hands of both quarterbacks. I think Jaden Daniels has showed us what he can do. I think he's going to be pretty efficient in this game right here. But I think your point, Sean, about 3 and outs, I think it's going to have to come early for Bama. I think Bama, to win this game, they got to get up by at least 2 touchdowns within the first half. And that's a tough thing to say when it comes to Bama, because when Bama's turnovers happen, they happen in the first half. So that's going to be something that's going to ultimately decide this game. Is going to be turnovers. But I really want to put this game into offensive LSU versus the defense of Alabama. That's where the match is going to be right there, because this offense is showing us that, hey, we're going to put up 40. The last time LSU did not score 40 points in the game goes all the way back to Arkansas, and that was around week 4. So to me, that's going to be something that's really going to be interesting in this game is, can Bama's defense stop this offense? How do we get that done? Pass rush has got to be insane this weekend. That pass rush, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, y'all two have got to be flying off the edge, and we can't get too wrapped up in blitzing linebackers. That's something I saw that hurt Bama so much last year. They blitzed their linebackers, and we did not get home. We got blown up. So Jaden Daniels is going to be very, very interesting. But what I've seen him get messed up in is when people are getting pushed back into his face and he having to scramble. I think that's what we're going to be most effective in, trying to contain him in the pocket. If we let him outside the pocket, it's going to be a long day for Bama's defense. And we've seen that for the past 10 years when it comes to Bama's defense. But I think the biggest key to this game, outside of being the defense versus offensive line, is going to be, can our corners hold up to these top-tier receivers? Because Malik Neighbors is going to probably be, to me, he's the second best receiver in the country. Given him Harrison, you got the overall top spot, but Malik Neighbors is #2. What's the best way to shut down the #1 receiver? Is get a #1 corner on the opposite side of him and get them matched up together. The only issue I really have with this overall picture is Kool-Aid does not travel like I would want him to in this type of game right here. He's going to lock down one side of the field, and I trust me, Brian Kelly's going to have Malik Neighbors moving all across that field. So it's going to be interesting where we see him at. But what we cannot do is allow Jaden Daniels to throw for about 300 yards, which I think he's going to be close to, and also run for about 70 to 80 yards. We cannot deal with both of those things happening at the same time. So overall, Bama's defense is going to have to show their biggest performance of the season right here to get this game done. I think when it comes to Bama's offense versus LSU's defense, I think the first quarter is going to matter so much about what we're going to see. LSU's defense is going to be ready and firing off the ball at Milroe, because that's the best way you can stop him from getting pressure. He's not the best quarterback when it comes to processing things quickly. Sometimes he gets caught into getting into that second or third rig way too long, being in the pocket for 3 to 4 seconds. That's not going to cut it this week. We got to be decisive. We got to be, really efficient on what we want to do with the ball. How do we get that thing right there rolling is we got to see our run game show up this week. We got to put up, I think, 200 yards rushing on this team to really, one, slow down this game, make it a quicker game, and overall get Bama's defense backed up. They're going to be on their heels. Get LSU's defense backed up and get them on their heels early in this game. So I want to see a heavy run-focused Bama, a lot of first downs from Bama, and overall have Jalen Milroe pop it over the top like he's good doing when it matters the most. So what is this game going to come down to? It's going to come down to probably one of the most fantastic fourth quarters we're going to see all season, because I think both teams are going to be close. I got Bama winning this about 4 points. Now, you said 3, I got to win about 4. And I think it's going to take a late touchdown to get it over the top. I think LSU is going to have this game in the point where they're going to be up 31-28. 31-28. And I think Bama's going to overall get the ball down the field in the late game drive, and they're going to score a touchdown rather than kick the field goal to send into overtime. What Bama does not want in this game is an overtime game. They don't want to get an overtime performance because overall Brian Kelly's going to bring all the stops out in the overtime like he did last year and making sure he comes out outside of Tuscaloosa with the win. So to me in this game right here, there's so many factors we can point in. Jaden Daniels, how you going to perform? Receivers, how y'all going to perform for LSU? Defense is going to be the biggest key for LSU's defense. And I think, to me, it hasn't shown throughout the early in the season, but I think LSU's defense is kind of finding their identity a little bit in these last 2 weeks. Facing Army, of course, was an easy one. And then against Auburn and them shutting down the pass. Both teams were able to run the ball on LSU. Both of them put up close to 150, above yards rushing the ball. So I think we're going to have success in that aspects. But it's going to be, to me, about turnovers and penalties. Both teams are pretty even in the penalty department, averaging around 47 to 49 49 penalty yards a game. LSU cannot come in this game not being on point, not being efficient. If they give us more opportunities than they get on offense, this might be a landslide in Alabama's favor, but I really don't see that happen. I think LSU's offense is going to come prepared. I think they're going to come explosive, and I think can Bama hold off the early game run that LSU's going to try to go on. They're going to come down the game, and they're going to be throwing deep balls early. I think that's something that Tennessee wanted to do versus us, but I think our corners played a little bit further back versus playing up tight in this game. I think our corners are going to have the same ability to play back, but LSU's receivers are the type of receivers that's going to dog you if you give them the opportunity to get a 50-50 ball. So we can't have a position where we got a lot of one-on-one coverage out there and these deep balls. Otherwise, this game's going to be a long night for these corners. But to me, I overall think Bama has the better star power on defense than LSU does on their defense. So Bama's defense is going to be the key factor in this game. It has to be a bend, do not break mentality. What changed the game for me of Bama versus Tennessee was Tennessee got 2 possessions in the red zone where they did not score touchdowns in the first half. That's what changed the defense for Bama. They said, okay, cool, we can stop these boys. We really put our mind to it. That same type of mentality has to be in this game right here versus LSU is they're going to drive the ball. Jaden Daniels is going to get big plays. He's going to be scrambling around. If we can hold him less than 50 yards rushing, that'll be perfect for us. But overall, when they get to the red zone, can we bend, not break? That's going to be the key to this game right here. So I got Bama edging this one out 35-31. Maybe even having to be a late field goal to get over this hump in this game right here. But I think overall, we got 2 things on the line for Bama. We got the SEC West on the line, and we got our goddamn season for the college football playoffs on the line, because Bama cannot be a 2-loss team and think they're going to do anything with the rest of the season. So
not this year.
So much on the line for Bama right here in this game, and it's going to be pressurized. The reason why I love this game is because Nick Saban and the boys in Tuscaloosa already talking about his personal. It's a revenge game. That's the wrong side of things you want to see. When you look at last year's game, Nick Saban really didn't know how Brian Kelly was going to come out. We know exactly what's coming this weekend when it comes to Tuscaloosa versus Alabama versus LSU. So there's not going to be too many surprises. The thing I hope Brian Kelly does not get into is trying to get 4th downs too much and going for it, because that's something that can stall this offense and get them messed up. And that has nothing to do with overall players. That's the coach having a mental battle versus the other coach on the other sideline. So to me, I think Bama has the overall better head coach. I think we have the overall better defense, and I think we have better special teams. But when it comes to offense versus offense, LSU has the better offense. We got that. We just cannot let them score on a run and get scored touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Because I think there's going to be moments in this game where Bama's offense does not score points. But we have to be matching that on this defensive side of the ball and saying our defense is going to win this game. If our defense comes out like I think they will, and I think we're going to probably force at least 2 turnovers in this game, that's going to put it over the top for us to get us our momentum. I think Bama's going to easily kind of take this game. I think it's going to be rough at times. It's going to be scary at times. Bama fans, stick with us. Don't be like Sean to snatch your hat off 2 weeks ago with Paris, Tennessee. We're not doing that this week. We stand strong in this. Overall, Bama's going to win this game. It's going to be convincing. And like I said, Bama's going to do what they got to do to get to the college football playoffs and get everything done.
Vic, what you got?
So it's interesting. So defensively, LSU, this is probably our worst defense we had in a while, probably since Bo Pelini's second tenure there. But it's funny because our secondary, we're having all freshmen in our secondary. But it kind of works in our favor that we're playing Muro. But the thing about Muro, he can always extend plays. And when he extend plays, that's when our defense usually we make mistakes. For example, when we was playing Arkansas, only reason Arkansas was so close because when KJ Jefferson broke out the pocket, all our secondary was looking at the quarterback, receivers go back behind them. We cannot have mistakes like that. We cannot have blown coverages like that. So ironically, Harold Perkins is our best coverage person. He's a linebacker. He's a freak. So Harold Perkins is going to be key. He's going to have to make an impact fast. And also Mason Smith. Mason Smith had a lot of hype coming in. You know, last year he tore his ACL. Mason Smith has to have an impact, especially with Makan Wingo being out. Also, Logan Diggs. I think Logan Diggs is going to be the X factor on our offense because I think when it comes to that option with Jaden Daniels, and you know he likes to throw it to Mason Taylor in the flat, Logan Diggs will be that one person that will take the heavy load off the rushing game. And sometimes when they'll key in on Jaden Daniels, Logan Diggs will pop up a big one. I think he has over 650 rushing yards in the SEC right now, so he's playing great. So I honestly think this will be a shootout, and I say that just because of our defensive struggles, but I also think we're going to come up on top. But I think we're going to come up on top because of certain key things. I don't think Jaden Daniels don't throw interceptions. If he do, I think he got like 2 this year, and he threw 2 last year. So the thing about Jaden Daniels that I like how Brian Kelly did this year, he gets Jaden Daniels in a rhythm early throwing the ball. Last year we ran, then we said, okay, we'll add this piece into it while the game goes on. This year we start off fast. We start off pushing the ball downfield. We got to keep the defense honest because if the defense is honest, it opens up the running game. So I got us winning actually 38-45. So I think it's going to go. It's going to be shootout back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And just like we played Ole Miss, we dropped 49 and lost the game. So I just think it's going to come down to how many stops we can get, and let's see if Alabama can stop us. I personally don't think the secondary can stop our receivers, but I do think Alabama is known for their defensive pressure. That's nothing new. So if Alabama can key off on Jaden Daniels, I think we'll have a problem. But I'm very confident in our offensive line this year. It's 10 times better than it was last year. So it'll be a great game. I can't wait. I just think we're gonna be in for some fireworks.
Hey, listen, the fireworks are gonna fly. And I'll tell you this, Vic, to kind of follow off what you're talking about right now. One thing that I noticed in watching film on LSU is their offensive line protects Daniels, right? Yeah. Like the offensive coaching staff had done a great job of putting him in a position to where he could win. Like they move the pocket often, right? They move him off his spot. Sometimes it's RPO. I'll say about 90% of the time, it's an RPO look out of shotgun. and you got capable running backs that can get it done. When it's not RPO, it's Daniels in a single shotgun look with 5 wideouts, 4 receivers and a tight end. That's hard to stop. Then you also have it when they move the pocket. They snap it to them and they move the pocket to the right. They move the pocket to the left. Listen, Ole Miss had some success when they moved the pocket because the defensive end went at an angle toward where the pocket was moving. But I thought when I watching the tape, I'm thinking, hey, this was just luck. Y'all just lucked out and called it right. Dude, LSU has receivers open.
Every play, really.
Every play.
Yeah.
Every play. These cats, they have 3, like you said, 3 elite. I'm gonna go ahead and call them elite. Lacey, Thomas, and Neighbors. Man, listen. The combination may not be like Jefferson them with Burrow, but it's pretty close. Where they're missing the boat is on defense. And I almost can't stand it because you almost got the perfect team, right? But defensively, y'all lazy as hell. I see too many arm tackles. I see too many missed assignments. I see too many I don't want to be here type moments on defense with this team. And I don't understand why it is. Because they could be so good if they put it all together. But defensively, if they can figure that out, they'll give Bama a hard time on Saturday. But if the defense that they bring out there in Tuscaloosa is going to be the defense I haven't seen all year, they're not going to win this game. And that's what it boils down to me.
Yeah, I'm going to set my little point right here before I get everybody get y'all closing thoughts in. But, hey, if LSU could put up 45 points on this defense, I'll give it to y'all. Y'all got it. If that can happen, I don't think we're going to be able to score that many points right there. But overall, I've been preaching on this defense all goddamn season, even when we didn't have our best performances. Even against Texas, I thought our defense played great. It's just Milroe's turnovers put our defense in a bad position. So the only way I see y'all scoring above 35 against us is if Milroe has 2 or more turnovers. Right. That's the only way I see this game going in that favor. And I think y'all can be an opportunistic defense. But if Milroe gets in his bag early, which I think against Tennessee in that second half, he showed us who he really can be as a quarterback and running the ball versus passing the ball. And not running the ball as in I'm just going to go out of bounds and make sure I'm safe. I'm talking about lowering your shoulder and actually getting yards and first downs. That's the type of Milroe I want to see this weekend, but it's not going to be all on his shoulders. We have to have a run game. And our left tackle, I don't know who the hell it's going to be, whether Proctor or whoever the second guy is, but we're going to have to show up on that left side of that offensive line. Otherwise, that's going to hurt in Milroe's blind side because I've seen it hurt us all season. So there's moments and there's places where the LSU defense can come up big. But will they? They've shown us all season they're not. So in that aspect right there, it's going to all depend on the offense for LSU. And to me, that is a lot of pressure on the road in a hostile environment. It's a night game in Bryant-Denny. That crowd is going to be drunker than anybody I've probably seen all year in 2023. So they're going to be loud. They're going to be ready to roll. There's going to be something that I think can mess up LSU's chemistry. And, of course, coming off a bye week, like you said, Vic, rhythm coming off a bye week is going to be such a key thing for LSU. How quick can y'all get into a rhythm? I think it's going to be something that's going to be overlooked in the aspects of if they don't come out in a rhythm, it's going to be because they had a week off and the overall didn't have that game type feeling in the leading up to this game. So to me, it's going to be a fun night in Tuscaloosa. I wish I could be there. I wanted to be there for this game, but of course, I'm relocating. I can't get there to that point. But to me, I think this game right here is going to have college football atmosphere to it. It's going to be a showdown of the 2 best SEC teams, in my opinion, outside of Georgia. But overall, it's going to be something that I think everybody's going to have their eyes on. It's going to be a pressurized situation. So can the quarterback show up? Can LSU offense that we've seen all year show up? That's going to be the biggest thing for me in this game right here. Man, what do you think in your closing thoughts?
All right. So for me, my biggest worry for Bama on this one, and it's going to be on the offensive side, is that Bama's O-line still ranks within the last 125 teams in FBS. Right. Yeah. And last in the SEC. And it's crazy to me that stat is out there because of the fact that I've been watching South Carolina all year and see how bad that team offensive line has been. But with that being said, Milroe is still one of the top 3 passers in the country when passing further than 20 yards down the field. And for this LSU defense, it's going to be an issue for that secondary to contain him and keep him from making those big explosive plays. And that's why I think this game is going to honestly end up being a shootout style of game. I think this is going to be points galore in this game from both sides. You look at on the Bama side as far as defense, what quarterbacks they went up with and what teams they played that have been complete like this. You go back to they had to hype themselves up against the A&M game, the Tennessee game, and in both of those teams' offenses looked good early, and it took that halftime adjustment to come out and shut them down in the second half. The only quarterback that they really shut down that's been a high-powered offense was Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has been a high-powered team all year, and Bama from the beginning of that game just got in his head with pressure and just literally shut that offense down from the beginning. I think this is a different monster, though. And the one game I think I can compare what this game might be to on the LSU side is the Missouri game on the road at Missouri. And that game came down to a late interception at the end of that game. And I think that's where this game might end up being. A late turnover in this game might decide it on either side. It might not be the Bama, it might be LSU that gets it. I have that be it. But in my honest opinion, and I've been saying this all season, the home teams in the SEC, for whatever reason, play better at home than on the road. And so for me, that's the only reason I got to take Bama. I think it's going to be high. I think it's going to be in the low 30s. I'll take 34-30, but I got Bama winning this one just solely off of the fact that I don't believe in LSU's defense. If LSU's defense give me mid-level. It don't even got to be great. Give me mid-level play for their
They don't tackle, man.
Yeah, give me mid-level play from that defense. I would pick LSU in this game to win it. But being that fact, I got more faith in Bama's defense against this offense. And Nick Saban is always dangerous coming off a bye. I always say that's the most dangerous Saban you can face is when he's got 2 weeks to prepare for you. Just like in the college football playoff. That first playoff game, whenever they make it, he's got a whole month to prepare for you. That game is always ugly from that standpoint of that. And I think it's too much time for him to sit back, dissect what LSU's been doing all year, and then have this game at home. You got 2 weeks to prepare. I think it'll be too much. I think it'll be close, but I got them winning it in the 30s. I think Milroe's gonna have a big day. I think something finally clicked with this Bama offense in the second half of that Tennessee game, offensively and defensively. And I want to see if that carries over into this one and they say, hey, finally we have an identity. We're having fun. We know what we want to do on offense and go out and establish that this weekend against a very poor defense in LSU. All right. Anybody else? Last thought. I know we've been going,
Vic,
but
closing thoughts, man.
Close it out, man.
Close us out, Vic.
My closing thoughts. Van, you brought up the offensive line, and I was looking earlier today. The least amount of times Miro got sacked is twice a game. So, like, if we could get pressure on him, we don't ever have to have a turnover. But if we can get sacks, push him back, and steal some possessions like that, I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hostile environment. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a great game. But yeah, I just think it's going to be a shootout. So, and I think our defense is going to show up at least for the start of the game. So the defense show up at the start of the game and we can score some points. And then in the second half, we can keep our fundamentals and tackle and just see ball, get ball. I think we'll be okay. And I think we'll come out with the dub. Like I said, 38-45, go Tigers. Yes, sir.
Woo! Hey, I hear you. Well, hey, thank everybody for tuning in. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, get that like, put that notification bell on, leave a comment. We'll all get back to you in the comment section. But until then, we'll see y'all next time and take care.
Roll Tide, baby.
Let's do it. Roll Tide.
Sure.